Let's check out today's conversation. Mike sits down with agency owner Jonathan Ramos. John shares everything, from the moment his lifelong dreams were derailed.
I got a hit by pitch in my nose, and I didn't know where I was. I was in the hospital. My mom already flew from Puerto Rico to Florida.
To betting it all in a new country.
So why'd you stay?
Because I met my wife.
You met your wife?
Yeah.
And how the choice to take on leadership turned his life around.
And at the end of the day, I just told Kendra, it's like, I feel like we haven't given it all. So let's just give it all and see what happens.
All of this coming up next on the Level Up Lifestyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Level Up Podcast. I'm Mike Sheets, and so excited to have our guest here today, John Ramos. John, how are you? Welcome.
Well, I'm doing well. Excited to be here. Thankful that you guys brought me down here to the home office to do something that I enjoy doing, which is talking about myself. But let's
who doesn't, right?
Yeah,
everyone likes that story. But kind of the idea here on Level Up is to take the stories of what people have kind of gone through, challenges, adversity, obstacles. What I find a lot of times in leadership is people see you were just promoted to an agency owner, actually, by the way, like last week while we're recording this. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's got to be exciting and kind of terrifying, maybe almost all in one sense.
Scary, but I'm up to the challenge.
Right. Yeah. And so, we see you at where you are today, but we don't know where you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago and all those things that you had to go through to get to the position that you're in today. And that's kind of the idea behind Level Up is let's talk about those stories and, where did you come from and what did you go through and what was maybe some of that adversity that you had to overcome to make you who you are today. And hopefully our listeners can take some things out of that, maybe it apply it to their stage. And there's probably people that are going through things that you went through, in different stages that they can apply and use as their working through their journey as well. So let's just jump into it. So you're born in Puerto Rico.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us about that. What was that like?
Yeah, for the first 18 years of my life, I was in the island. My whole family is still out there. It was amazing growing up out there. Obviously, I never thought that I was going to be in the United States. And kind of sports was what guided me to come out to the U.S. and actually develop myself and being here in this position right now.
So when you grow up in Puerto Rico, I'm just curious, is that so you said you never saw yourself like coming to the United States. Do you view yourself, because it's a colony, right? Or a territory, I think.
A territory, yes, sir.
Right. So do you view yourself as part of the US or do you view yourself it's like your own country and then moving to the US is like immigrating to the US, or what is that like from
as I grew older in the island, I understood, right, that we are Americans, and I consider myself that way. I love everything that comes with being American, but growing up, obviously, we have our own culture, we have our own flag, we have pretty much. It's almost like we're our own little country, even though we're not.
Right. And you vote on whether you want to become a state, right? That's always kind of the debate sometimes.
We vote for a governor, and then we don't get to vote for the president. We just got an option to vote if we want to become a state or just stay independent, which, to my knowledge, becoming a state always wins, but for whatever political reasons, hasn't happened.
We're not getting into politics on the podcast, but I'm sure that's kind of an interesting thing, though, from just being a kid growing up, seeing all these different dynamics.
Yeah, right? It's pretty confusing, but.
So what did you see yourself, coming up in that culture? Like you said you never saw yourself coming to America, to the U.S. was never really something you had thought about? Or
my whole family is out there, and I've seen, obviously, very thankful. I think the success that I have today is because I grew up seeing my dad, right, with an amazing work ethic, but that's all I've seen, right? He worked for
What'd your dad
his
do?
Family. He was a fireman. He retired to being a fireman, but he helped his dad. They used to have a little convenience store. He used to help him like cut meat and deliver it. And my dad has always have multiple jobs. He was in the construction industry for a while. And once he retired, my brother became pretty successful owning some grocery stores in the island. And he just brought him with him to help him out, supervise and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But that's all I've seen. Our family's really close. The town that I come from, like in the street where I live, my house is the first one, but the next 9 homes down the street is either my grandmother, cousins, aunts, uncles. In the street behind us is my other grandmother. So I didn't think that I was gonna get away from that.
Yeah.
We grew up really close.
I mean, you're leaving your whole culture, your
Yes,
whole
sir.
family, the, Ramos Boulevard, basically, right?
Pretty much,
everybody there. And so how did that happen then? How did you transition to ending up in the United States?
Sports, even though my dad obviously was so busy trying to make sure that he can provide for the family, him and my mom found time to just keep me involved, right? I used to go through middle school, high school, and I played volleyball, baseball, basketball. Didn't really took any of them like too serious. I just enjoyed doing it and just loved the competition.
Just through elementary school, middle school, all that.
Whenever I got to high school, I'll say about 11th grade, 12th grade, I got pretty serious with baseball because I was developing some skills that I started thinking that I was pretty good. And then I started getting approached by some coaches, scouts in the island, offering me to go to college, possibly maybe be in the draft one day when I graduated high school.
Are they college scouts? Are they major league scouts?
There's MLB scouts that talk to you and they don't feel you're quite ready. That they get you with some people that will bring you out here so you can go to college, get your education, and hopefully develop yourself in the sport so you have the opportunity out of a junior college to sign professionally or after you go a 4-year school to have the same opportunity.
Okay.
So that's kind of the route that I went.
So you decided at some point like baseball is the sport.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
What position did you play?
Actually, I played shortstop mainly, second base.
Okay.
I didn't wanted to leave the island, but I've seen so many people that is very successful leaving the island because of the sport of baseball, or maybe like boxing is pretty big in the island as well. And they become really successful in regards to making a really good income and be able to provide for their family. So I thought that was going to be my opportunity.
So then did there come like a moment when you're in, I'm assuming you're playing high school baseball, or is there like a club team that you're
Puerto
doing?
Rico, I went to a public school, so we don't really have sports at the school. It's all private outside of it. And a lot of the times you don't have a chance to develop it yourself like somebody in sports here in America. Now they're familiar because you don't do it every day.
Yeah.
Now I had the discipline, and my dad, I'm super thankful because, as I mentioned, he find time to like go to the field with me and throw some balls so I can hit, or just hit some ground balls, right? So I can develop my skills. But it was only like a 2 to 3 days a week. You practice like Tuesday, Thursday, and you play on Saturday, and that was pretty much it.
Gotcha. So you're doing that, and then I'm assuming at some point someone approaches your family and says, "Hey, we think Jonathan could have a career in baseball, and he's going to need to move to the United States."
Yeah, so
right?
Somebody approached my dad.
Okay.
I was just playing like local in the town that I'm from. And normally, and we find this out later, right, through my high school years, like if you go closer to the Metroplex and participate in those teams out there, you have a lot more exposure. So that's what
the Metroplex in San
Puerto
Jose?
Rico, yeah,
right?
kind of closer to like San Juan and all of that.
Yeah.
So
San Juan, yeah.
My dad kind of put me in some of those teams, and I started talking to the scouts and the people who gave me the chance to actually been able to come out here to go to college.
So what was that decision like? Like you are living on a street of 9 houses that all of your relatives, and now you're going to go to a country where, I'm assuming at this point, do you speak English, or do you just a little bit of English?
No,
or?
So in Puerto Rico, we grew up obviously through school. We get English since first grade, but it's probably the same way you get Spanish here, right? You don't really learn much. And the English class is taught in Spanish, so it's not a whole lot that you get from it. So it was definitely super scary because I knew the language was a barrier. I was just told that a lot of the players in the college that I was going to go into spoke Spanish, some of the coaches as well, some of the teachers, because in my first year I went to Florida. So that gave me a little bit of comfort, but I was still pretty scared about what the challenge was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it just had to be a huge change for you, right? And so why did you decide to do that? To kind of uproot your whole life at such a young age and move somewhere? I
mean, in the back of my mind, I just trusted the ability that I was given to play the sport of baseball, and then I just wanted to see what was going to happen with it.
Yeah.
And the college, my first year, I went to Lake City Community College. It was in Florida.
Yeah.
And I mean, I met awesome people. Some of the people that I play with today in that college are playing professional baseball.
Okay.
In the MLB. So it was a great experience.
So how did you view baseball at this point? I mean, obviously you love it. It's a sport that you enjoyed. Did you see it kind of as your way to a better life, or a way to, connect you to where you want to be in life, or what was your thought there?
Yeah, most definitely. I saw it as a career. I would have loved to hopefully become a millionaire and be a professional baseball player.
Yeah.
But I also had the idea of, like, if that doesn't work out, I would love to get studies done, like through baseball, hopefully pay for it through scholarships and learn the language of English. Because by the little time that I was in the United States, I was liking what I was seeing. So I could see myself either building a life out here as a professional baseball player or as a professional something else.
Yeah. You know, it's just so crazy because, you know, every kid when they're growing up, they dream like, oh, I'm going to play, you know, a professional sport, baseball, basketball, you know, football, whatever it is. But for you to actually be in a position where you've got scouts talking to you, they're encouraging you to leave your country, you're taking them up on that offer. You know, what type of commitment did it take to even get to that point? I mean, is it just you picked up the ball and you're that good? I mean, or is there a lot of stuff that you were doing to get there?
It was a lot of like practicing, like hitting, developing yourself in the weight room. And obviously you don't have now here in the United States, I think like kids are blessed, right, to have all the gym and equipment and practice facilities, right? And you go to a field nowadays, especially in this area, and everything is turf and perfect.
Right.
So we didn't have that. But again, just thankful of my family for the support and my dad just taking me to practice. Really, my practice for baseball wasn't a whole lot of like physical lifting weights. It was just getting ground balls in a beat up field. And
how many days were you practicing when you were a kid?
Pretty much every day.
Every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I not was practicing baseball, I was doing something else like mixed martial arts with my uncle, or I was just playing basketball, which I think it helped me tremendously with the stamina.
Sure.
But in regards to baseball, I used to practice almost at least 5 days a week.
Yeah. And so like that kind of commitment that it took to put yourself in this point in your life, you know, if we were to fast forward to like now, how influential is that period of time in you today?
Well, I think it's big because the discipline that we had, I think back then I can see what my parents were doing, right? Trying to keep you away from getting lost on whatever the streets or whatever the case may be. Because in some of the schools that I grew up in, I mean, it could be pretty easy to be influenced that way. But the discipline that you built by doing that on a daily basis, keeping in the back of your head that might be an opportunity in the future to get you ahead and provide for your family, I think is big, and it correlates a lot to this profession right now. And just the competitiveness that also I think is a great quality to have in this industry.
I think you got the competitiveness. I think you've got the determination, but I think a lot of it too is, you know, how much of it just like you have to work for something.
Yes, sir.
Like you want something big, and it's just not going to be given to you, right? You're practicing every day with your dad, and you're doing mixed martial arts, and you're doing other things to try to get your, you know, physicalness to the point that you can perform at a level to give you that opportunity. I mean, is that something that if you fast forward to like you're a brand new agent, does that kind of stick in your mind of like, hey, I got to work at this if I want this?
Well, yes, a lot. I mean, I feel like I guess my mindset, if I do more that is required, one day I'll get paid for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how I was when I was a kid, really not with the same intention, right? Because I didn't view it that way. But I know that if I put in the time, eventually you get better at something. But now with this industry, I kind of see it that way. Starting out as an agent, obviously you're going to have to do a lot of things that you might don't want to do and you don't feel like doing. But it's just like anything else in life, right? If you put in the discipline, you put in the time, it will pay off in the future, as long as you're willing to just strategize, make adjustments, right? And follow the system that the company have in place.
Yeah. I think what you said is just so important, because so much of society, even right now, is like instant gratification, right?
Yes,
I want to do something and I want to get my reward from that now. And you said, I want to make sure people heard it, that you wanted to do more than what you were getting paid for currently, just do more work and maybe not get that reward for it now because you know it's going to pay that dividend later.
Yeah, of course. And that's just my mindset on everything that I've done. I know, as you mentioned, going into this challenge now as an agency owner, I know it's going to be harder. There'll be new challenges. But I'm willing to, same thing I did when I was an AD building a brand new team, just do more at the beginning and eventually will pay off as long as I align myself with the right people.
Right. So how do we go from here you are in Florida about to become a Major League Baseball star to now you're selling insurance, right?
Yeah,
Let's talk about that journey. So where did baseball kind of peak, and then what happened and how'd you transition?
Yeah, in Florida, everything started well. Obviously, freshman out of college and got a really great head start. A bunch of stuff happened in between, right? Injuries. I got into a car accident. Then recovered from that pretty quickly. I just hurt my knee. And then went to a game one time in the practicing part. We're just playing practicing games before the season started. And I got a hit by pitch in my nose and woke up one day and I didn't know where I was. I was in the hospital. My mom already flew from Puerto Rico to Florida. So I guess I was out for like a day and a half.
So the pitch knocked you unconscious.
Yep. And all of that happened.
Do you ever know what kind of pitch it was? Like,
no idea. I swung at it and it was like a foul tip and the ball hit me. And then also instead of going straight back. And I was just unconscious and woke up in the hospital. I had to have surgery in my nose. And that was part of it, right? But I got recovered from that and I started playing baseball that 1 year and things went really well.
So at this time, are you playing for the junior college?
Yes, sir, for the junior college. Had an amazing coach. Today, I think he retired from his position, but he went. So the college that year closed down. Year that I was there as a freshman. So our coach was given an opportunity to actually go coach minor leagues for the Chicago Cubs. So he was an amazing coach. But once I think it was financial reasons that the college had to close down, and I was given the opportunity with the scouts that I was already talking. I started talking with a scout for the Royals organization, for the Kansas City Royals, and went back to Puerto Rico for summer. Playing Puerto Rico, the summer league, and then I was given a chance to go to college again, but I went to Iowa that second year, which was
very similar different. To Puerto Rico. I think Puerto Rico, Iowa, it's usually my vacation destinations.
It was freezing.
Where do we want to go this year? Iowa or Puerto Rico.
They want you to play baseball, and for the first 4 or 5 months when I got there, you're just practicing indoors, which I'd never done that before. It's negative degrees, super windy, so that was a whole new experience for me in the baseball career. But that college was very interesting because the main college was not in the location that I was staying at. And the main college used to have all the sports, but they got all baseball players. And we were like 2 hours away from the main campus.
It's just like a baseball satellite.
Like a baseball academy. Yeah. It was about 50 guys and only about 15 will make it to the team, and it was just war in there. Just practice, get good at this, and see who makes the main team.
You got to compete with 35 other people,
and it was
35 people are going to not make it out of the 50. Yeah.
People from everywhere. There was a lot of Latin American, Cubans, Puerto Rican, Dominicans, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of competitiveness, and that team we did great. I think.
So you made that team.
We finished second place in the whole JUCO that 1 year, and from there really was the chances for me to maybe play professional, race up because I had a great year that year. And then I came back to Puerto Rico, and the scout that I mainly was talking to was from the island. So he helped me get through, maybe possibly get into the, how do you call this? I went blank, I'm sorry. Get into
the minor leagues?
Into the draft.
Or the draft.
That 1 year. Yeah. And then I started playing summer ball and I hurt my wrist. So that took a while from getting into the draft that year. So I wasn't able to get in it, but I was given an offer to play independent ball for the same organization. And while doing so, they gave me the chance to represent Puerto Rico. I think that was an awesome experience.
Oh, wow.
In a Pan American tournament.
Yeah.
To like qualify for like the World Classic.
Yeah.
And I was part of the Puerto Rico team playing with a lot of professional players.
That's cool.
That was an awesome experience.
I'm sure you picked a lot from that too.
Yeah,
I mean, you got people that are in the MLB that are playing on that team.
Yeah.
Right?
We went, the tournament was held in Mexico. I think it was in 2009. And we play against everybody. It was U.S., Cuba, Dominican Republic, all those big teams. Yeah. And we got to play with them. Get to know all those players. It was pretty awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
But that pretty much kind of hurt the baseball career because the injury that I had was on my wrist and I couldn't really get better from it. So third year, I was going to go back to the United States to go back to college to a 4-year school. But I really didn't recover like well from the wrist, so I had to stay in Puerto Rico for a year. So I went to college in Puerto Rico for that 1 year. And then once I recovered, I started playing a league in Puerto Rico named AA League. And I started feeling better. So after the 1 year that I went to college in the island, I was given an opportunity again to go back to college.
Okay.
And that's what I went to the 4-year school in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And after going to that school, then I thought of baseball, yes, as hopefully still an option to build a career. But I saw a lot more serious, like getting to learn the language better. Because to this point, I wasn't trying too hard because a lot of the people that I was around spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to Oklahoma, which is only me and another Spanish guy from Puerto Rico. They're giving this opportunity. And nobody else speaks Spanish. So I was wanting to learn the language.
It had to be hard,
hopefully
right?
trying to build a career. Yeah, and it was even harder whenever you go somewhere that you're used to certain English in the island, and you come out here, kind of like in Texas, and it's a really country accent.
Sure.
Everybody. I mean, I was in a really small town, but I mean, it was another challenge.
There's not a lot of y'alls that they throw around down in Puerto Rico.
No, in Puerto Rico you never hear that. It's more like the Northeast English.
Yeah. So I know there was at one point you had a pretty serious injury while you were playing, and that's what derailed your whole major league career.
My wrist,
Is that the injury you're talking about prior, or is this something that's okay?
It happened in college, and then I aggravated it when I played the summer ball in Puerto Rico.
Gotcha.
And they were thinking of maybe doing some surgery. I went through some laser treatment to not having to have surgery on the ligaments.
Right.
And that's why I had to stay in Puerto Rico for a full year and go to college there.
So this is when you were playing for the Royals, kind of minor league organization.
It was an independent ball under the Royals organization.
Okay.
And obviously the whole goal was to complete that year in college and get into the draft. But due to the injury, that really didn't happen.
So now you're in the United States. You're in a state that speaks a type of English that you're not familiar with, on top of being away from where you grew up with 9 houses of your family members in a row. I mean, what are you thinking now? Like, are you wanting to go back, but now you're in the U.S., you want to make it and stay here? Like, what's driving you at this point in your life?
My hand felt a little bit better. So the goal was obviously to put in the next 2 years in school, junior year and senior year playing ball. But I took a lot more serious school and wanted to learn the language and actually get a degree. And at this point, I already did my first 2 years. My first year was, I don't want to say a waste, but I didn't have like the credits because I was taking ESL, which is English as a second language, and that took the majority of the credits that I took that year. So I was wanting to, that's why I stayed in Puerto Rico and went to school where I was recovering from the risk. And then I just wanted to catch up on school whenever I came to the 4-year school in Oklahoma.
So when did you make the decision that, all right, baseball's not going to happen and I'm going to get on with the rest of my life? Is that a gradual transition, or was it like, there was a moment that kind of defined it?
I started my junior year. Obviously, the first semester for baseball players is a lot of practicing. And it's a lot of weight room involved and playing scrimmages and stuff like that. So I quickly found out that I was fine to play, but whenever I got to a game, I was still hurting pretty bad on my wrist. So the first season when the season started, the first maybe like 40, 50 games, I didn't get to play much due to the wrist. And I think that's why I make the decision, okay, let's just get done with school and get a degree out of this. Because I was thankful that I was given a scholarship.
Did you think you were going to go back to Puerto Rico after you get the degree?
Yes, that was the plan.
So why'd you stay?
Because I met my wife.
You met your wife?
Yeah, I met my beautiful wife, and today she's actually my business partner as well.
Yeah.
So I met her the first semester that I went to Oklahoma, and I mean she pushed me to become better, learn English, right? So
does she know Spanish, or
no,
you guys are communicating in
She knows the
English?
Country English.
Okay.
And that's how I got to learn it.
Okay.
She helped me tremendously through school, and actually, she was very patient because she took everything to teach me the language, and we were communicating through like Google Translate and stuff like that. So she helped me a lot. She helped me with school. I told her that after that, I ended up getting a master's degree online, and I tell her that she has that master's degree because she did the majority of the papers and all that kind of stuff. But it's
no one's going to review that degree now. They can't take it from you.
I'm not using anything.
Right? Yeah, that's true. So, all right. So you graduate college, right? And then you at some point you make a move down to Dallas, or what's that?
When I finished playing baseball in college in Oklahoma. I chose to do my degree because I was offered an opportunity to coach the team that I was playing for in college. And because I was going to be an assistant coach, they were going to pay for my master's degree. It was another scholarship. So I took that opportunity. I coached for the first semester and a half, and it was very different from playing. To be honest, I hated coaching. I enjoyed playing, but I hated coaching. So I told Kendra we still had 2 years left in school. So I told Kendra that I was just gonna get a Pell Grants and get a loan and finish my master's. And I continued to do my master while she was actually finishing her degree.
Okay.
Because I'm 2 years older than her. And in the meantime, I just found a job and we started working together. She was a bartender in a little steakhouse, kind of like a Roadhouse out here.
Yeah, right.
And I obviously was super shy to still speak English to people. So I started busting tails. So I didn't have to talk to anybody.
Right.
And I did that for about 3 weeks. And I respect the people who do that a lot because I hated it.
Yeah.
And
cleaning up people's messes.
Yeah. And cleaning dishes in the back wasn't something I wanted to do. And I just asked the manager at that store, who was a Mexican guy. So I asked him, hey, man, do you think I'll do good serving? He said, well, I mean, if you can stumble through English and take orders, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that pushed me to learn the language. At the beginning, it was funny. I used to take orders and I don't even know what I wrote down. I used to go to Kendra. He's like, hey, can you enter this in for me? And hopefully it's right. But we went through that for about 2 years. And to be honest, working there gave me a chance. It helped me a lot to learn the language and gain a lot of confidence on speaking it.
Yeah. So you're definitely getting outside your comfort zone doing something like that. So then, okay, a little further down the road, what's the career path looking like now?
So whenever we finished finished my master's. Kendra still had a semester in school. So I decided we either wanted to move to Oklahoma City or come down to the DFW. So we make a trip to Oklahoma City. Her mom used to live there. That's why we thought of moving up there. But then one weekend we came down to Dallas and we loved the area. We actually came down to like Plano, Frisco area. Mm-hmm. And I just told her, hey, let's just pack up when you finish school and go down there. So I came and applied for some jobs. And I was given a job pretty quickly. So we did everything, got an apartment, and I moved down here about 4 months before she moved because she needed to finish school.
Right.
So I just came down here, got her air mattress, put her in the apartment floor, and moved with it was just me and my puppy, and she was still living up there in Oklahoma City. In Ada, Oklahoma, going to college.
Yeah.
And once she graduated, moved down, and she was the one who got into the insurance industry.
Okay.
Her first job was doing PNC.
Okay.
And then she did that for about a year while I was selling cars. And then she decided to go into like more the financial planning with a different company. And she didn't like that at all. And that's when she started going into interviews. And she met Blake Gaither under the Ever Agencies here in Dallas.
Yeah.
And she went through an interview with him. And it was, you can ask him. It took about 3 months to hire her. I don't really know why, because she wasn't doing really well in the other company that she was working at.
She was hesitant to start?
Yeah.
With Liberty?
She interviewed with Blake like 3 times. Blake took her to the field, showed her how everything was done, and showed him a lot of success. That's why I was surprised. I was selling cars. She was telling me about this opportunity. I was like, man, why you not jump into it? Because she was working for another company that it wasn't going very well. And she decided after 3 months or so of interviewing and the whole process to take a chance and start working for Liberty National. And about a month later, she personally recruited me because she needed some Spanish people to help her in her enrollment. So
you're selling cars. Did you like selling cars? Is it something that you wanted to do kind of, or are you just, this is paying the bills, this is getting me through?
Yeah, at the beginning, that's how I thought, that it was just going to pay the bills. But it gave me a lot of like people skills because I was very shy still. And I think it was great for kind of positioning me to be better at this career right now with Liberty National. But the income was good. From what I was making in the restaurant when I came down here, to me, it was, I almost make 6 figures the first year. And I thought I was a millionaire back then.
Right.
Selling cars. But once I came here and went through a few enrollments and learned the policies and closed my first 3 accounts, I saw a different opportunity. And that's why we're still here today, 7 years later.
Yeah. So Kendra personally recruited you to help her on enrollment. So she really, intention was to have you kind of help her in enrollments and then see where this goes. And what did you think of the opportunity? I know you kind of said, obviously where it's taking you now, but when you first started, what were you thinking about the opportunity for you from your side? Yeah,
I thought it was going to be a lot easier at the beginning because obviously, well, first of all, the hard part was studying for that test.
Right.
But we got through that. Just getting out of college, I still had a little bit of.
So I mean, when you think about it though, so you just learned English essentially here within what a year or two. Now you're feeling confident and conversational.
After
from this?
I started working, almost 2 years.
So about 2 years, and now you have to take an insurance license test in English with words that you probably hadn't seen before. And, what was that like?
That's funny because I came to find out after I became an agency director, you can take the test in Spanish and you can do the study course in Spanish. But you
didn't know that when you were doing it. No,
I did it all in English, and obviously I had a lot of questions, and I Googled a lot of words that I didn't understand, and Kendra helped me through some of it.
Maybe that was Kendra trying to help you learn more English. She didn't want to give you that option.
I mean, it helped me with the terminology and getting to learn the language in this industry. I find out after I became an agency director, you can do it all in Spanish, so it would have been a lot easier for me.
So what are your goals? How are you viewing the career opportunity kind of at this moment?
So we started as agent. Obviously, once I passed my test and did my training, I was being utilized a lot because I speak Spanish for enrollments. Yeah. And I mean, it was great, right? Because it's bringing an income. But I saw Kendra building a book of business, right? And she was focusing a lot more on the prospecting. A lot of the accounts that I was enrolling, a lot of them were hers. Mm-hmm. But we were both agents. So I felt like, she's building something for herself and I'm helping her and everybody else because I speak Spanish. So I kind of like put a little bit of stuff to that and got really good at the prospecting as well.
So you didn't want to just be an enroller. You wanted to get into the business.
Which obviously I saw at the time my trainer, which was Blake, as a role model because I see what he has accomplished. And I wanted to see, okay, what have you done to become successful? And I saw that whenever he got in the field, he was awesome prospecting, presenting to businesses, closing new accounts. And he developed Kendra to get to that point as well. And I just wanted some of it because in the future, I got my first, I think one thing that made me realize that I really wanted to make a career here. It was the first kickoff meeting that we went to the every agencies. Okay. And I start seeing the bigger numbers, right? Because right now I'm only seeing what we are getting done in the Dallas office, but now I get to see what the every agencies is doing. I think back then...
You're seeing that more is possible, right?
I think back then, I think they were celebrating writing $3 million or something like that. And to me, that was
This is what
a big
year?
deal. Yeah. 2015, 16.
Okay. Yeah.
3 point something, I think it was. We have those big banners and you got to write down what you're taking to the bank for the year. So we were doing that. And I saw some other people, not just Blake, other directors like Keith Bennett and stuff like that being very successful. And that kind of pushed me into wanting to actually move into leadership. Yeah. And that's why I did everything I could to get good quickly in the prospecting, presenting to business owners and enrolling and overall in the business.
As we're talking through this, it just seems like a common theme that I'm hearing is you kind of keep intentionally pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, going all the way back down to where you're in Puerto Rico and the work ethic that it takes to be good at baseball, to making that leap of faith into another country, basically, new language, taking different positions through your working career that are pushing you out and out of your comfort zone as well. I mean, what is that like now? Here you're kind of getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of an enroller position, you're getting out of your comfort zone, moving into leadership. Like how do you think that's defined your career?
I think what made me go through all of these, first of all, going back to Puerto Rico, right? I've seen my dad, as I mentioned earlier, work so hard and he just trading time for a paycheck, right? Yeah. And even though he did everything he did to provide for us, we didn't spend a lot of time with him because he was working a lot. So then seeing my brother with the same work ethic as a young boy, pretty much working since he's 15, 16, became a professional, graduated school. And then he started working for what he went to school for. And he kind of put a stop to that and decided to become an entrepreneur. So I started seeing different things, right? I see him as a role model as well. Because, now I'm seeing that you don't have to, you got to work hard, but there's ways to get ahead, right? Yeah. It's not just simply trading your time for a paycheck. If you're willing to take a bigger risk, then things will pay off in the future. So I learned that from him. So I'm kind of translating that to this business. And I saw as an agent, the opportunities there, and you could be a great career agent. I mean, look at Jason Adams, Corey Horsley, right? They do amazing. But I didn't see myself just enrolling in a daily basis. So I wanted to build something else, and just learning from Jason, Blake, and them as leaders. I saw what they were building, how people was looking at them differently, right? With different respect and stuff like that. And I wanted some of that. And we tried the leadership with Kendra, my wife, being the supervising agent. I was the agent. Then she got moved up as a director, and I was the supervising agent. And I'll tell you one thing, she's way better than me in the field and building relationships.
Right.
I was good at it, but she's amazing. And we fail by doing it that way. Obviously, we didn't have the experience, and I feel like we didn't have enough accounts. We just did it pretty quickly. And we failed. We got demoted both back down to an agent. That was a point in this career that I was thinking hard if I wanted to continue to do this or not. But I just went to some other job interviews and things like that. But I was trying to put all my eggs in one basket and compare. If I go here, do I get this? And if I go here, do I get this other thing? And the freedom that you gain in this industry, if you become successful, and the income that you can make, it was a match with the other opportunities that I went and interviewed for. And at the end of the day, I just told Kendra, it's like, I feel like we haven't given it all, and we getting in our head, maybe possibly quitting these great opportunities. So let's just give it all and see what happens. And we started giving it all, and things got really good.
Yeah.
So we promoted again, but we decided to do it me as a SA. She was an agent, and I moved up as an AD, and she was my SA. And up to a few months ago, that changed, and now I became an agency director, and she's a director in the company.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just so great. Is that like that internal drive that you get from watching your dad growing up to push you through these moments where it's a challenge, it's something unknown, and that's the motivation that drives you into this? Because a lot of times people, they have that adversity that they're looking at, or there's something that's going to be way out of their comfort zone,
right?
And they don't go through it. You know, there's something that pushes them a different way. What's that driving force that pushes you?
I definitely learned a lot from my dad, the work ethic aspect. I feel like they obviously I have a great support in my family, but whenever you talk to them about starting a career like this, the first few questions, right? Is that commission only? Are you getting benefits? And all of that, right? And they want you to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I see growing up. In Puerto Rico at the time, it wasn't a lot of opportunities. So my dad did everything he could to take care of us. But I learned a little bit more of that from my brother, of taking the risk to maybe getting ahead and actually becoming an entrepreneur. Obviously, you've done it, right? It comes with great responsibility and a lot of risk. But if you put in the time, it would be very rewarding.
Yeah.
So I think that's what drives me. I love the unknown. And I think that pushed me a lot. That's why I love this career, because I can go walk into a business today and I might build a great relationship with a business owner, give a presentation. He has 200, 300 employees. And I mean, just an account like that can change the next quarter of your life, or the next 6 months, or the whole year. So I thrive, I feel like, on the unknown.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy that a lot.
But how important is it once you take that leap into the unknown that you got to put your head down and work?
Oh, yeah. It's just, I think that's the key, right? Because if you don't do that, then you're going to waste a lot of time. You can waste a lot of money. I'm learning that as a director. I learned that obviously you spend in recruiting sources and things like that. So when you get in front of somebody, you got to make sure you perform. You got to make sure that you adjust. Because the system is there, but I feel like the system, you got to make a few tweaks for my personality to work in a certain way. It might work differently from you according to your personality. So definitely working in your craft and thinking outside the box and getting better.
But when you make these leaps, were there times where you were still second guessing yourself? Like, did I make the right decision? And what am I doing? And
how do I get out of this? I think it happens a lot. But I feel like as long as you have the faith, right, that things will work out. And if you put in the time, that things will pay off. I mean, that's really what drives me. Yeah.
So going back to that transition now, you're working for Globe Life Liberty National. what did your family in Puerto Rico think about this? Because you leave home on one career path, right, and now suddenly you have a girlfriend, you move to Dallas, and you're going to sell life insurance 100% commission. It's not quite what they had in mind for you either when you left. So no, what are they thinking?
Definitely. I mean, I think from the very beginning that they met Kendra, they liked her a lot.
Sure.
And we went back after a year of being together, and she went back to Puerto Rico, and we introduced her to the family. And it was funny because not many people can communicate with her, right? My mom has a really broken up English. My brother teaching himself English because he could communicate with my dad. I mean, doesn't say 2 words of English and don't understand it much. So it was funny the first few times. I feel like Kendra has learned Spanish because today sometimes I'm on the phone with my dad and I give the phone to Kendra and she be saying some Spanish words with him, but she don't say nothing in front of me because she thinks I'm gonna make fun of her. But I forgot the question again. So how supportive were they of the transition to Liberty though? A lot. At the beginning, I feel like obviously it's scary jumping into something like this. So they just wanted me to find something that, you got a consistent pay and you offer this and that. But once they saw that once I got started, I was giving it all and things were working out really well. I mean, they've always been super supportive of any decision I make in my life so far. So it's been great.
Right. And then, obviously we kind of talked about some of the challenge when you're coming in, and how you've overcome those. At some point, you kind of got it figured out, right? You went through some adversity, you stuck it out. You probably thought about which direction do you want to go, and you stayed. And then now, when did you start thinking about like, what's this next level look like for me? Maybe this is an agency owner type thing. When did that start?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I never thought of becoming an agency owner. I became an agency director in 2020 and in January, and things were
great time. Everything. We were blissfully ignorant January 2020,
trying to figure out how to recruit a person, and then COVID came along.
Yeah.
And thankfully at the time we had some accounts that we built as we were here as an agent and supervising agents. So we were able to work through that. But it was definitely a challenge when March came around, May, and the whole COVID year. But we managed to finish the year in my first year as an agency director, qualified for convention, which it really was my goal.
Yeah.
And then in year 2, I mean, we really got implemented a lot of systems in the recruiting aspect and giving the opportunity to others. And things changed tremendously in that position. And I was able to make the SEAL team, which is something that you and Luke run, which I'm super thankful for because I feel like I've been around those guys. I learned a lot and became a lot better.
Now, a lot of people maybe that are listening, they don't know what the SEAL team is. So from my side, the SEAL team is the top agency directors, that role that you're in right there, regional agency directors that are kind of just knocking it out of the park in everything, recruiting, agent growth, production, obviously promotions, leadership, out of 250 people with this contract, we picked the top 10 or 15. Kind of like, you think about your career in baseball, you're in a school where they're picking the top 15 out of 60, so you're having to, same thing, here you are. And was it your goal to make the SEAL team once you found out about it and knew what it was? Was that competitive spirit in you wanting to be on there?
Obviously, I didn't know the qualifications to make it.
Right.
I just knew
not a lot of people do.
Yeah, if I work really hard, I might have a chance.
Sure.
So I'm super competitive. Obviously, Blake is very competitive as well.
Right.
And he became my partner in the office. And my goal was trying to beat him every week. And I'm sure his goal was the same, right?
Yeah.
And in a respectful, friendly way. I mean, I want him and everybody to be super successful. But his numbers used to drive me because I knew he was been here 9 years. Now I'm here 7. So having some weeks sometimes that I get to equal his production or better, it was a success to me. So I was trying to do that and make sure that on the recruiting numbers, we stay very similar. And I think we both got an amazing work ethic in the office. And we got to develop that Dallas office, which I think is doing pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, once I got the call from yourself telling me that my second year as an AD that I was in the top of the company and it was part of the SEAL team, I was pretty excited.
Yeah.
And kind of like the same thing happened with the SEAL team that happened to me whenever I was just in the Dallas office and went to see the ever agencies as a team. Like now, everything I've seen is the ever agencies.
Right.
But now I get to spend some time with you, Luke, and the top performers in the company, which opened like a different perspective for me.
Sure.
And I saw different numbers that you guys share with us that you see company wide, right? So it's a lot bigger than just the ever agencies, and like the new system or the ways that you guys are trying to implement to improve the great year that we have to make sure that the next one is better. When you guys start talking about the agency owner contract and what those numbers look like. And I feel like after the New York meeting, which was the first one for me, after the last day, I went to the hotel room before we went to dinner, and I just called Kendra and I asked her, hey, will you ever consider like if we take the risk and maybe trying to open our own office? And she said, well, where? I was like, well, I don't know. It's an idea. And she said, well, why you come up with this idea? And I kind of share some of the numbers and then the things that you share with us. And when I came home, then we got a little more serious talking about it.
Okay. So you put your head down and went to work.
Yeah. Then the year 3 started as an agency director, and it went way better. I was able to align myself. I'm big, right, on aligning myself with the right people. And I have been able to build some amazing partners, and some of them that came in the Dallas office and moved with me down to San Antonio to now build the office in San Antonio. I've been blessed to have all those partners around me. And year 3 as an agency director was even better. We almost got close to writing $1 million in FYI production and over $1 million overall.
Yeah.
And I was part of the SEAL team again. And the Lake Tahoe trip to me was the one who did it. I feel like there I made the decision that I wanted to do this, and I approached you and Luke about it, and with a billion questions. And then just took it pretty serious when I came home. And as you mentioned, put my head down, continued to work hard. And just, I feel like towards the end of the year was when I asked what was required to become an agency owner. And here we are now at the very beginning of the year. I just packed all my stuff after building a brand new house that I only lived on it for 10 months in Prosper. Sold it and moved down to San Antonio.
And how many boxes do you have in your garage right now of office furniture you're ready to get open?
The office, I've been an agency owner, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
The office was getting the carpet completed, so everything that I need in the office is in my garage, so probably over 100 boxes. I'm not looking for moving at all, but...
Are you thinking about maybe that decision if you knew how much packing and unpacking and building was involved, right? You know, it's the things we don't tell you.
I think it's all worth it. It's things that we got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything that... And we kind of talked about this already, but was there anything that maybe was holding you back from making that decision to become an agency owner sooner? That maybe if you would have known this, or if you would have thought about something differently, you know, because you don't seem to be afraid to get out of your comfort zone when you know what it's going to do for you.
Yeah, I feel like obviously we fail at the beginning when we try to go in leadership. So that was in the back of my head a little bit, my head and maybe Kendra's in a way. And obviously I was just scared of the expenses and things like that, right? All I'm seeing is the number one agency owner, which is ever agencies. And sometimes I ask a question here and there, and he shared some of that information with me. I was like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't want to, I don't know. I didn't really thought myself like thinking that taking the risk of becoming an agency owner.
Did you not see yourself as the agency owner?
Yeah,
did you not see that the risk was something you wanted to go through? Or what do you mean by that?
I do trust my work ethic. Yeah. And I know at the end of the day, I will do what it takes to be successful. And I have the competitive spirits and all of that. I think it was mainly like the bills, and really relocating was the main thing. I mean, I love this area up here where the home office is at. I used to live maybe 15 minutes from here.
Yeah.
And
we were almost neighbors, right?
Yeah,
we were right down the street from each other.
I bought a house in Aubrey, and then lived there for about 3 years, and had the opportunity to build a brand new one in Prosper. And I love the area that I moved into. I joined the country club next door. Yeah. I thought
Deion Sanders' old house was down the street from you too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the big things that maybe was keeping me from making the decision, right? Got great friends in the area.
Comfortable
the
life.
Relationship that I got to build. I was, making pretty good money, living pretty comfortably. But I started realizing once I go to the SEAL team meetings that it could be a lot better. And I just talked to Kendra and told her, hey, let's just push ourselves even more and see what we can achieve. And we moved down there. To be honest, the area that we picked down there is awesome. It's amazing. The scenery is definitely different, but I love everything down there so far.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to open the office. Right now, we're working out of the conference room in the building that we have our office. And we've been able to do some career briefings, and we've been able already to hire some people. For the past 2 weeks, we've been able to write production down there. So it's been great so far.
Getting it started. Right?
I'm excited to see what we can accomplish together down there.
I'm excited to see where this journey takes you too. I mean, you've got a tremendous story from your upbringing all the way to now, and the things that you've gone through. So, I really appreciate you sharing that with everybody here.
Thank you.
One last thing, which is part of our tradition here on Level Up is we give everyone a bobblehead of themselves.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
So I know, you had dreams of Major League Baseball, maybe wearing a jersey and a bobblehead, not a suit. But it is John Ramos bobblehead day here at Globe Life Studios. So I've got your bobblehead here.
Excited to have it at the office.
And so there you go. I'll present you with your own bobblehead.
I got the haircut right and everything.
Yeah, we got the haircut right. We put a lot of time into putting that together. So, and also, cool. If you notice, you're not wearing socks, which I think is an important piece of your.
I'm wearing the little no-show.
You get the no-show sock. I don't know if they have no-show socks in this bobblehead or not, or if they just went straight with the shoe on there. But so if you could go back in time, right, and you're talking to your bobblehead self here, what piece of advice would you give yourself when you're getting started that if you knew it back then, you would want, anyway, something that you know now that you would want to know back then?
I feel like I don't regret anything the way it happens, because I feel like obviously the failure to me are lessons to help you become better. But I feel like I would have liked getting to leadership sooner. I think that would have been something, and I think if you ask my partner, my wife, Kendra, she will tell you the same thing. I think once we start the leadership path, the people that we've been able to pour into, and seeing them change their life in a financial way or in a professional way, right? Maturing as a person, because a lot of the people that we bring on board are pretty young. It's pretty amazing. It's very gratifying for me. So I wish, if I tell myself something, it's like, hey, do what it takes and move up with the company sooner. Because I've been with the company now going on 8 years, and I've been in leadership for the last 4. Okay. So I was pretty much the first 4 years. I was an agent. We tried moving up. We got demoted, and we were agents for almost 4 years. So, I mean, if I would have tell myself something, is just stick through it. I know the struggles will happen, but knowing my work ethic now, I knew we would have figured it out.
Yeah. No, that's great. Well, John, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for sharing your story. It's very inspirational, and I can't wait to see what you and the Ramos Agency in San Antonio has in store for us.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys for having me and bringing me down here to share my story.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope this episode has inspired you on your path to success. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next story. See you soon on the Level Up Lifestyle Podcast.